I can still hear their voices echoing in my head, even after all these years. You'll amount to nothing. Those words weren't just said once. They became a rhythm in my life, a cruel, repetitive drumbeat that played every time I failed, every time I tried, every time I dared to dream. And the worst part? They came from the two people who were supposed to believe in me the most, my parents. Back then, I was just a boy craving love, craving approval. I didn't ask for much. Just a little smile from my father when I brought home good grades. A simple, "I'm proud of you," from my mother when I helped her around the house. But no, nothing was ever good enough for them. My father used to say I was weak. My mother would sigh and say, "He's just like his father's brother, another failure." And I remember how those words would burn. Every dinner felt like a silent war. My father sitting at the table, newspaper in hand, face hidden. My mother pretending to care about something else while I sat there, hoping one of them would just ask how my day was. But they never did. The silence was louder than anything. The truth is, I grew up invisible. I learned to live in the shadows of expectations I could never meet. And the more I tried, the more I failed in their eyes. When I brought home my first drawing, my father looked at it and said, "Art doesn't feed anyone, son. Be a man. Do something real." When I tried sports, he laughed. "You're too soft for that." It didn't matter what I did, there was always something wrong with me. One night, I remember standing outside my house, staring up at the dark sky, and I made a silent promise to myself, one day, I'll leave. One day, I'll become someone. One day, they'll regret every word they ever said to me. But promises are easy to make when you're young and angry. Keeping them, that's the hard part. I left home at 18. No plan, no money, just the burning desire to prove them wrong. I packed a small bag, took what little cash I had, and caught the last bus out of town. I didn't even say goodbye. I didn't need to. They wouldn't have cared anyway. The city was nothing like I imagined. I thought success would be waiting for me there, like some hidden treasure I just had to find. But reality hit me hard. Rent was expensive, food wasn't free, and people didn't care about your dreams, they cared about what you could do for them. For months, I jumped between small jobs. Cleaning floors, delivering food, washing dishes in a restaurant where no one even remembered my name. Every night, I came back to a tiny room with a broken window and told myself, this is temporary. I'm going to make it. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. And sometimes, I'd catch my reflection in the mirror and barely recognize myself. Tired eyes. Rough hands. No trace of the boy who once dreamed big. I started to believe maybe they were right. Maybe I was nothing. There were nights when I almost gave up. When I'd sit on the edge of my bed, hungry and alone, whispering their words back to myself, "You'll amount to nothing." It became my curse. My truth. Until one night, everything changed. I was working the late shift at a small diner. It was raining outside, one of those cold, endless rains that make the city look like it's crying. I was tired, drenched, and angry. That's when he walked in, a man in his 40s, dressed in a dark suit, carrying an air of confidence that immediately filled the room. He sat at the counter and ordered coffee. Black. No sugar. When I brought it to him, he looked at me and said, "You look like you hate your job." I tried to laugh it off, but he didn't smile. "What do you want to do with your life?" he asked. I didn't know what to say. No one had ever asked me that before. I told him the truth, that I didn't know anymore. That I used to have dreams, but they'd all been crushed under the weight of disappointment. He studied me for a moment, then said something I'll never forget, "Dreams don't die, son. People just stop chasing them." That man's name was Richard. And that night, he left me a tip that was more than money, it was a business card. He owned a small company that helped people find jobs and housing. Come see me tomorrow, he said. If you're serious about changing your life. The next morning, I did. And that was the start of everything. Richard didn't give me a handout. He gave me a chance. He introduced me to people who taught me about real estate, business, investment, things I'd never imagined I could understand. I studied every night, read every book, worked harder than anyone else. I failed 1,000 times, but every failure became a lesson. It was like I was building myself from scratch, piece by piece. And slowly, things began to change. I got my first real job, then my first promotion. I started saving money, dressing better, thinking bigger. I stopped letting their voices define me. I was writing my own story now. Still, late at night, I'd lie awake and wonder if they ever thought about me. Did they miss me? Did they regret what they said? Probably not. But that didn't matter anymore. Because for the first time in my life, I was proud of myself. The pain never fully disappeared, though. It just changed shape. It became motivation. Every contract I signed, every success I earned, I'd whisper to myself, see? I told you I'd make it. Years passed. And with them came more success than I'd ever dreamed of. But deep inside, I knew my story wasn't finished. Not until I went back. Not until I faced the people who had once told me I would be nothing. And so, I decided to go home. Not as the boy who left, broken and angry. But as the man who built everything from the ground up. The man they never believed could exist. As the train rolled through the familiar hills of my hometown, I looked out the window and smiled. This time, the echo of their words didn't hurt. It fueled me. Because now, I had a surprise for them. As the train slowed down, I felt my chest tighten. I hadn't been back in over 10 years. The small town looked almost frozen in time, the same streets, the same rusted signs, the same silence that used to choke me. I stepped off the platform, breathing in the familiar air. It smelled like memories. Some sweet, some bitter. I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times. Sometimes with anger, sometimes with pride. But now that I was here, all I felt was calm. A strange calm that comes when you've finally made peace with your ghosts. I walked to the edge of the station where a black car was waiting. My car. I'd arranged everything before coming. My company driver got out and greeted me with a polite, "Welcome back, Mr. Han." I nodded, still not used to hearing that title. Mr. Han. The same boy who once begged his father for approval, now had employees who looked up to him. The car moved slowly through the narrow streets. People stared as we passed. Some recognized me. Others whispered. I could almost read their thoughts, is that really him? The boy who left. When we reached the old neighborhood, I told the driver to stop. I wanted to walk the rest of the way alone. The house stood at the end of the street, still painted that dull brown color I'd always hated. The curtains were drawn, the yard untidy, but it was still home. My heart pounded as I walked up the path. For a moment, I just stood there, hand raised, ready to knock, but paralyzed. What would I even say? Hi, it's me, your failure, back with a Mercedes and $1 million company? No. That wasn't why I came. I didn't come to show off. I came to close a chapter. I finally knocked. The door opened slowly, and there she was, my mother. Older, thinner, her hair streaked with gray. Her eyes widened when she saw me. For a second, she didn't say anything. Just stared. "Mom," I said softly. She blinked, as if she couldn't believe it was real. "You came back," she whispered. I nodded. "It's been a while." Her hands trembled as she stepped aside. "Come in." The house smelled the same, soy sauce, dust, and something nostalgic I couldn't quite name. My father was sitting in his old armchair, watching TV. When he looked up and saw me, his face froze. For a moment, I thought he might smile. But instead, he turned off the TV and said, "So, you're back." No emotion. No welcome. Just that. "Yes," I replied quietly. "I wanted to see you both." He leaned back, studying me with that same judgmental stare I remembered from my youth. "You look different," he said. "What are you doing now?" I took a breath. "I own a company in Seoul. Real estate and development. We've grown pretty big over the years." He raised an eyebrow. "A company?" He sounded skeptical, like he was waiting for a punchline. "Yes," I said firmly. "I did well. I came to tell you that. I made it. Despite everything." My father didn't speak. My mother covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. That was the first time I'd ever heard her say those words. They hit me harder than I expected. My father finally stood up. He walked toward me slowly, his expression unreadable. I braced myself, unsure of what he'd say. But instead of anger or sarcasm, there was something else in his eyes, something that looked almost like regret. "I was hard on you," he said finally. "Maybe too hard. I thought, if I pushed you, you'd be stronger. I didn't realize I was breaking you instead." For a second, I didn't know how to respond. Hearing that from him felt surreal. The man who once told me I'd amount to nothing was now admitting he was wrong. "I know," I said quietly. "And maybe you were right about one thing. I did become stronger. But not because of you. Because I had to be." He nodded slowly. "Maybe that's enough." The silence that followed was heavy but peaceful. Years of unspoken pain floated between us, but somehow, it didn't hurt as much anymore. I spent the rest of the evening with them. My mother cooked dinner, just like old times. We talked about simple things, the neighbors, the town, small memories that didn't hurt. For the first time, I saw them not as the monsters of my past, but as flawed people who didn't know how to love properly. And somehow, that realization set me free. Later that night, I stepped outside and looked at the stars. The same sky I used to stare at when I was a boy, whispering my promises to the wind. Except now, I wasn't that boy anymore. I was the man who kept his promise. The next morning, I packed my things. My mother hugged me tightly at the door. "Don't wait another 10 years to come back," she said through tears. "I won't," I promised. My father shook my hand. His grip was firm, his voice low. "You did good, son." That was all I ever needed to hear. When I got back into the car, I felt lighter than I had in years. The road stretched out before me, the sun rising over the hills. For the first time, I wasn't running from anything. I was simply going forward. On the drive back to the city, I thought about everything that had brought me here, the pain, the rejection, the hunger to prove myself. And I realized something profound: success isn't just about money or power. It's about peace. It's about standing tall when the world tried to crush you. A week later, I received a letter in the mail. It was from my father. Short, handwritten, shaky. It said, "I'm proud of you. I'm sorry it took me this long to say it. Your mother and I watched your interview on TV. You've become someone we can finally look up to." I didn't cry often, but that day, I did. Not because I needed their approval anymore, but because I finally understood forgiveness. Time passed, and my life only grew bigger. New offices, new achievements, new headlines. But deep down, I carried the memory of that broken boy who once stood in the rain, promising himself that one day things would change. He was still there inside me. Stronger. Wiser. Free. And whenever I face challenges now, business rivals, betrayal, exhaustion, I still hear their old words echo faintly: you'll amount to nothing. But now, they make me smile. Because they remind me of how far I've come. They remind me that pain can be the foundation of greatness. That rejection can be a gift in disguise. Every time someone doubts me, every time someone says I can't, I just look back at the life I've built, the buildings, the people I've helped, the legacy I'm creating, and whisper, watch me. Because the truth is, we all have someone who once made us feel small. Someone who told us we weren't good enough. But it's not their words that define us. It's what we do with them. If I'd listened to my parents back then, I would have stayed trapped in that small town, working a job I hated, living a life that wasn't mine. But I didn't. I turned their words into fuel. I turned every no into motivation. And now, every time I walk into one of my company's glass towers, I look at my reflection in those mirrored walls and think, you did it. You proved them wrong. But proving them wrong stopped being the goal a long time ago. Now, it's about proving something to myself. That no matter where you start, no matter who tries to break you, you can always rise. That little boy who once felt worthless. He's gone. In his place stands a man who knows his value, not because someone finally said it, but because he learned to see it himself. So if you're listening to this, if you've ever been told you're not enough, that you'll never make it, that your dreams are foolish, remember this story. Remember me. Because I was once that person. Broken, lost, unwanted. And now, I'm living proof that sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success. If you've ever been made to feel small, don't let those words bury you. Let them build you. Let them remind you that your worth isn't something anyone else can measure. You define it. You create it. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that every tear, every rejection, every painful word, was shaping you into someone unstoppable. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me, what words once tried to break you, and how did you rise above them?